Well, it would only make sense I want to do an emerald tree boa video because I'm spending a lot of time staring at my emeralds, because right now, at least for me, I call this emerald tree boa breeding season. And I don't know when other people are breeding their emeralds, but for me right now, this seems to be the time. That's Gary Holt from Slayer right there. Look at that. Hello. And of course, if I have a Gary Holt, I must have a Tamaraya and a Kerry King. I have a Dime Bag, I have Bernie Mac, I have Randy Rhodes, Tamaraya right here. So I'm a metalhead, so it makes a lot of sense. So, emeralds. I love them. And that's an IMG emerald. So that's Abigail, she's pregnant. There is one of these really dark black and blue basins here with this little garter's got a dry shed on them. Hi, come here. Show me what you're about. I know. He's got a little bit of dry shed in his head. I'm sorry. It is so hard to get the camera to focus. Anaconda phase. Interesting one. The calico granite, whatever you want to call it. The IMG. So that's a northern. So that's an Amazon basin. And that's a northern, and there is a difference in many different ways, which I probably will need to address and get into. Right now I'm just looking. Oof. That one's Kerry King, right there. This is some of my emerald tree boas, and as I'm, kind of rethinking my collection, I'm trying to focus, and it's taken me a long, long time to amass my collection of emeralds. Hello, what are you? Look at you, you're just sitting there, thinking about food. This is a little IMG. See how black that is? This one got burned. Oh, some time ago I had given her a basking lamp, and I don't really quite know what I did. She was in a different, there's a nice lime, super, super light green. Look at that, super nice. There's a northern, there's another northern. There's a basin, sleeping. Hi, come here you. You wanna wake up? I'm gonna feed you tonight. Hard to get my phone to focus on you. is a northern that is yellow. Oh, who is on fire? Come here. You see that yellow? That's special. Come here. Show me. Hi. My goodness. Here's my least patterned basin. Alright, so you kind of get a feel. Look at that. Who wants to eat? You want to eat. Alright, let's talk about some emerald tree boa husbandry. Why is this cage not full of plants and all this stuff? Yes, that is indeed awesome. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But one of my, things is, you're raising these emeralds and you're doing all this stuff. And as I'm getting rid of other animals, I must take my time, and like normally I would lose it breeding whatever, and emerald tree boas are just like sitting there and it wasn't set up. So what I did, I went and designed all of this caging, and all of this caging has a mist system right there. It has 9 perches. It has 3 different size perches. It has always bins of water. It has a slanted floor that goes to a drain. I then create, this is all prototypes. That's my drain system. I have 40 watt heat panel up there. I generally turn the heat on and off. Amazon basins, I like to allow them to get it to 95 degrees. I am learning that northerns, I need to keep them cooler, and that indeed means even a cooler basking. So if I'm doing ambience, so right now I'm breeding, but if I do ambient, if I was doing ambient, 76, 78 on a northern with a hot spot, we'll say 88 to 90. How about something like that? And basins, ambient, 76, 78, maybe even up to like 82 ambient, and then a hot spot, even up to 95. And I'm thinking that's one of the big differences I'm learning with the northerns versus basins. And so what happens is, I think northerns, if we let them get too hot, and they'll bask, they will use it. If we let them get too hot, some animals can go into this chronic regurgitation syndrome, and it is, if you're ever dealing with that, don't feel alone in it. It is something to deal with. I just had a basin a little while ago that threw up on me, and that was because I use this fan at night and I blow air down here, and this basin right here got cold, and I think it maybe even it just got too cold. The air was just blowing on its cage, and that, basins generally don't throw up. They're more tolerant. They're a little hardier than northerns, but yeah, it threw up, and all I did, I gave it some probiotics, and I didn't feed it for a couple weeks, and then fed it, and it's back to being fine. So anyways, I have 9 different perches, and generally what I do is I let them perch from a 1/2 inch, like that, a 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and they'll pick what they like to do. So there's one that has food in it. That's a female that ate last night, and she'll sit on that 1 inch. I have 2 sitting here on 1 inch. So what I do is I keep just looking at like where they like to sit. Okay, so we have an animal here sitting on 1/2 inch. I have animal sitting there on 1/2 inch, animal sitting on 3/4 inch. What they don't seem to like is if I start giving them like 1.5 inch and all of that. They seem to want thinner perching, like to the point where it's almost like sticks and whatever. So another thing I do, see this little thing right there? This is air. I pump air into these cages because what I want to do is I want to mist the cage down. I want to make it drippy wet. I can go and take, let's see, hold on, maybe I can watch this thing spray. I'll show you what I do. So I can sit here. This is fine. And if I'm trying to cool them down, so I like to spray the whole cage, get it all wet. But I want the cage to dry out because these animals, just like anything, are prone to fungal infections. So if I let this, I'm trying to change this. Ooh. If I let this cage stay dank and wet, I'm going to have problems. There we go. So I got a nice mister. And what's really good with emeralds, even though I have water dishes in here, sometimes I use a different kind of water dish too, but right now I'm using these big bins. And that little bit of air creates a positive airflow. So I have ventilation up there, I have ventilation here, and I have ventilation around the cage. And I just want to be able to soak them down. Everything's soaked. And what the soaking does is gets them moving, and also makes sure that they're very, very well hydrated. This is a very stationary species. And a lot of times nothing happens until nighttime. And sometimes nothing really happens until we spray them down. But remember, these come from the rainforest canopy. So they are used to it raining. So one thing I've noticed, emerald tree boas don't necessarily like to recognize a water dish always as the place to drink. So I do like to spray them, but I also like to give them the water dish. And I could sit there and spray these guys for 4 days endlessly. And then I come in and I watch them and they're drinking some water drop off the top of the ceiling. So I think what's really critical is maybe in our normal care in a planted vivarium, we give them water dishes. Sometimes they're just not getting the amount of hydration that they need. So it doesn't mean that they're getting, just not getting enough to drink. They really need to drink a lot. I have a little escapee right here. This is Araya. I know what you're doing. I'm gonna go have fun. So nighttime, they come to life. That's when, you start getting the breeding behavior and stuff like that. I will cool these guys down to, at my lowest, 71 degrees. Seems to be it. And I use a temp gun a lot. I'm checking things out, and then I give them heat during the day, and I am going up to probably 92 for these guys up on the top area, and longer basking for these lower guys, because it depends what I'm trying to cycle. But you're kind of just getting an idea how I do it. Feeding is, with northerns, you can just pretty much go every 14 days. Sometimes if you're raining on them a lot and you get the animal to clean out their GI tract, which basically means they poop, then you feed them another one. So that's sometimes like a really good thing you can do. Look at this. So, emerald tree boa morphs. Well, I'm trying to work on it. So, what is genetic? Blah, blah, blah. Very, very sweet. You, hi. So what I'm trying to do is just focus my time and my breeding efforts so I can actually now, you know, I need to produce more. And, you know, this is years, like I said, to collect all this and arrange this, and there's just been lots of trials and tribulations. So I like to do this. So if this has follicles, that means it has really good follicles, and I might expect that to ovulate. That's pregnant. It has really good follicles. This one maybe has follicles, but I think I need to feed her more. This one has follicles. This one has follicles. That one has follicles. So this means that my cycling is working. So reducing my light cycles, cooling them down. I kept them dry for a while. Then I start spraying them. This one has follicles. So the follicles basically means that, like, let's see. This one has follicles, so I need to feed this one. So I go down the line, just kind of showing everybody everything, because my haters, I just want to give you guys something to do. Follicles. Both of these, those are these two females right here. I don't know. Follicles. I didn't get to palpate her, but I don't know. Hopefully you're gonna find this interesting, because I'm just doing this because this is what I like to do. All right, here's something I don't generally do, which is feed and then turn on the lights. So most of these animals have just eaten. Hi. You want to eat more. I know. Giant Jamie. You just ate. Sometimes the males don't eat during breed season. She didn't eat. She's pregnant. Look at these two cuties. He's sleeping. He doesn't need to eat. He's plenty fat. You can see IMG. So much black. I didn't feed the lower ones too much. They were not as awake. You were a troublemaker. That might be her last meal until she ovulates. So I like to feed at night when possible. You just, that one just pounded. I forgot to feed you. So feed at night, and a good spray is a really good idea. So if you're keeping them in a terrarium, a good spray in the evening gets them moving. And look at you. Beast. There's a beast behind you. Oh, her. I already fed you. You were being kind of lame. I didn't feed you. You've got big follicles. Look how glorious. And the room temperature right now is about, what is it? Remember, this is bubblegum video, guys, so nothing. 76. Okay, so right now, nice, comfortable 76. Hi, buddy. All right, it's time to start shutting all your cages. What are you doing? Come here. Hi. I hope you guys are finding this interesting. I'm doing some just extended, long form content for people. A male's already starting to wrap that female. I'm not really going over too much for breeding right now. This should be a good year because I'm putting my energy into it. And, you know, it sure beats having to smuggle every year, you know? Tongue in cheek. Absolute gibberish. Hi. Yeah, it's taken me a long road to amass this. All right, hope you're enjoying this video. If I can only get you to focus. Come on. There you go. Look at that. There you go, Jamie. I think this is our first gravid. She's jacked. Hi, sweetie. She's been basking. Looks like she ate, but all right. This one is close to ovulating. Look at the blue. She gets this blue, and she's been breeding this guy. So wow. Yeah, she's close to ovulating. She's sitting right here, which is right under that air jet. It's pretty interesting. She's been sitting there for days, and I'm just, you can see, it's a big swell. Her follicles are huge. All right, good. This male's trying to line this female up. Looking for that female to be receptive.
Pheromones.
See, look at that though. He's...
Wow, that was instant, dude.
Yeah, instant. He's just so cycling, and watch what he does.
She's beautiful.
Yeah. But it's you spray on him like crazy. Actually, let me see right here.
Oh my God.
He's got some nice blue.
Yeah, he's good. You're not gonna get enough with that with your camera.
I know.
Oh yeah, she's giving off serious pheromones.
Watch what he does. He will be a monster. They're crazy though. They'll wrap them up like an anaconda.
My full water girl, she's probably 6 feet, 7 feet. I still give her like 7 like small hoppers. I don't feed her really all. Kev, I'll send you a picture of my lab, but I think he's almost good to go.
That is right when they start copulating. So she's receptive. You can, because what she'll do is she'll drop her tail. And that is great. That's an IMG male. Very receptive female. You can hear my air pump. I use an air pump, and the air pump, I put a little bit of airflow into here for fresh air. He's just getting going. I just put him in there. Put him in there to me like 40 minutes ago.
That's quick.
Maybe an hour ago, but he has been courting her. So that's kind of nice. There you go. I'll just do that. But she's receptive, how she's dropping her tail. So for all the people that have been waiting, this year we'll focus on the babies. You can see this male is courting. It's the IMG gene, so all that extra melanin, but now breed IMG to IMG, hopefully. And he's courting. This male over here is actively courting too. So raining and raining and raining on them. But it's breeding time. There are very few things that we're gonna breed right now. And then there's this guy. He's trying to motivate me.
No escape. The pack will fall.
How about this? It's animal appreciation time, which basically as a keeper, just like all of you, we just appreciate so many of these animals. But look at this. This is an Amazon basin emerald, but this is hypermelanistic. And so this is actually genetic. This extra black pigment, it's not really the darkest one I have, but it's a great example. I was just looking at this animal and I really like that. I like emeralds a lot. And I've been away and I'm just kind of having to appreciate my animals and also decide what animals I get to keep and what animals do I have to finally start growing up and going, well, I can't afford to keep all of this. I can't afford the overhead. And so I have to refine my collection. And life is certainly changing. Look at that. That's so nice. I really like that hypermelanin. It appears like it's dominant. Before long, people can start making noise in the hall. Ruin my video. And of course, we have an awesome cowrie tick in the background. Hello, cowrie tick. That's also just gorgeous. All right, I hope everyone's having a good day. Bye. What are you doing? She says she's coming out of her cage. I don't know where you're going. Nice, sweetie. Can I put you back in there? She's still pregnant, this one. Nice, sweetie. So this is the next one to drop. So anybody doesn't know what these are, so this is a big adult emerald tree boa, and that's a little baby. Started red to look like a leaf that has dried up. Looks like we got another litter of emerald tree boas. Hey, sweetie. I was watching her last night. She still probably has one more to go. You can see down there. Bother her too much. I was actually able to just look at her behavior last night and anticipate. This is interesting. After she's had all her babies, she had to go down and investigate them. And she's down there and she's smelling them. So she has definitely some maternal curiosity. She fooled me. I was waiting for this last baby to be born, and I walked away and it came back and she dropped it. Too smart for me. Really cool though to see these born. Alright, Mom. She's sniffing them. Wow, there's so much white on these. My goodness. Looking at some of our little baby emeralds. Then lightning bolt. Bam!
The guy used to have a weird contact in his eye.
Hold on. I'm doing a video. These guys are really snappy, but now they're starting to calm down a little bit. Say goodbye. Awesome emeralds. Just looking over some of our baby emeralds. Look at those lightning bolts. These guys are just going through. They're, that one actually just went through its second shed. So we have all these I'm dealing with. They are a little snippy, but what's really cool is they're really captive bred, and I'd like to keep them all if I had my way. God. goodbye, awesome little baby emeralds. Okay, what happens if I go to feed an emerald during the day? Very typical. Okay, let's take a look at the size of this rodent. So this is the defrosted rat. Hi. So, nice. Oop. So, okay, so that probably got a little bit spooked. So it's daytime. So this is often a terrible time for me to try to feed emeralds. Says him. Okay, so if I shut the lights off for a little bit, a little less stimulation. Hi. But I'm basically we're just showing all different things. So another thing that's very important, they're hot. These are very hot rodents. Let's take a look. And if I go to feed during the day, remember these guys are sleeping. I'm just kind of using this as an example because we're giving you a long format. Okay, so I'm bumping this animal, wait for the head to come around. Okay. So generally at this point, I don't really want to bother them too much. I don't want to leave them alone. I know the lighting is terrible. It's a little involved when you're trying to feed emeralds and you're not gonna. Nope. All right, so I've shut the lights down. Now it's not completely dark, and I just turned on misting. This animal's actually coiled on the mister, but you can see like right misting nozzle, and I want to feed a couple of these guys. So one of the things to do, at least in my opinion, is feeding emeralds during the day is probably a really bad idea. Generally, if you know you have a pet emerald and you know it well, and maybe you can get it to eat. But I noticed that my ability to get some of my animals eating is poor if I go during the day. So I've had the lights out for about 20 minutes. I'm now raining on it, and I just showed trying to feed this animal a little bit ago. So I'm just using this as an example. So remember, this is long form, so I'm just blathering away, just talking about random things, because I'm trying to like address some of the problem solving, some of the logic when it comes to keeping emeralds, because they're definitely a tricky species. I certainly am always gonna, learn something. I spend a lot of time just like staring at them, using a temp gun too, like just understanding what they might want and trying to figure it out. So I'm gonna let this spray for a little bit. I'm gonna come back and try to feed some of these guys. All right, I'm gonna go over a couple more things. So one thing you might be going, well, Kevin, your setup is very barren. Well, I had plants in here. I had plastic plants. I had potted plants. There's 9 perches in this cage. Actually, the cage is it's 4 feet wide and it's got doors. So I can lift this open and I can let all of these animals interact. But because males will fight, and I have, let's say a male here, that's a male, and that's a male. I have my my partition shut, but I can easily open this up. And I think ultimately, just if you're keeping emeralds and you're not trying to breed them, generally in a cage like this size, this is really good for an animal. For breeding, it's working out great, but I don't like to keep a male with the female all the time, because what happens is sometimes in the presence of an adult female, that can trigger this little guy's testosterone, and the testosterone is something that tells food, I don't care about you. Hi, buddy. So if he's got a female in there and his testosterone is spiking, this may trigger him to not want to eat. And so long term, that might not be a really good idea. You can hear the air that he's blocking right now. This is, so remember how I explained, these cages, I have a positive airflow. So there's always air being added to this 3-foot tall cage, that it comes in and then it just comes out through my venting, and that causes the cage to dry out. So if I look at this cage is bone dry, and this cage was, you know, I rained on it probably 10 hours ago, but I can spray this cage down and this cage will get super wet and then it will completely dry out. So like I said before, so I had plants and plastic plants, and they would get tangled in the plastic plants. They'd tear them off. I had plants in there and they'd get into the plants. But what I noticed was I couldn't exactly tell what was going on. Hi, so when they sleep, look at that. He's sleeping. Hi, can I wake you up? I'm just showing you how gentle they are. Look how black his head is. I know my camera is having a heck of a time. You kind of get an idea. Look how black head, so that's IMG. Really cute. And I like this water because I can take this water right here. So right now, there is some urate in there. So I can easily take this, I can dump it, but most importantly, you know, you kind of, there's a little bit of material in there. I can throw it away. I can put it in here with bleach, and I'll let it soak, and I can easily replace that. So this cage, nice and dry, ventilated, ambient temperature is, I don't know, we're in the 80s right now. So we're about, so 83 during the day. And it's gonna drop down tonight into the 70s easily, and the heat's gonna go off because we have a heat panel, and I'm just rattling on, but I'm trying to just give everybody at least just a couple ideas. Let's say you keep emeralds and you're having, yeah, some issues. So some of the biggest issues are hydration. Hydration, is this animal drinking enough? And boy, do they like to drink. So you can sit here and go, oh, this barren cage and it doesn't have all this. I'm able to observe more of what's going on because I'm actually able to study the animals. When I have a plant in there and all that kind of stuff, I am, look how big you are. I'm not able to fully observe what's going on, and the whole point is for me to learn, trying to learn more, trying to figure it out. What makes these guys tick? What's proper? What's not proper? What am I doing that's right? What am I doing that's wrong? So I did do some feeding. So there's a northern on the right. I got this northern confused with that one, and I double fed this. That's a boy. I didn't really want him to eat twice. So how much is too much? All right, so this is a basin, so you can see she's a little porked out. This one's good. It just makes just a lump. I'm just trying to find, some of these guys really ate pretty heavy. See the IMG on the left? See how black that head is? And this guy right there. Okay, so you can see this animal. It's just causing, it's noticeable that something's going on right there, and that is about the size food item for many like northerns would be proper. So if I got this northern right here, ate last night, and let me see what you're showing. So just enough to make a little bulge. Even though they want to eat it, doesn't mean they should, because what happens is we overwhelm the gastrointestinal system and they can puke. So another thing to consider too, really good rule of thumb, if you are reining on your animals and doing everything like that, you feed it, and then within about 2 weeks you could expect for a bowel movement. So they pass that, start spraying them and down and doing all that kind of stuff. Some of that will initiate them to clear their gastrointestinal system, and that's a sure way to know when it's time to feed them again. So this means they take a while to grow. I think easily a female is a 5-year animal to grow. So you really can screw up because they love to eat. You might get an animal that really likes to eat, but doesn't mean it should. This animal's actually putting herself in the water. So this is a female that's getting close to ovulating, so she wants to cool herself down. So she's sitting in there, and I find that, wonderful. I don't know if I'm boring everybody yet, but so rule of thumb, basins can definitely seem to eat bigger items. Like, look at this. I would generally not want to do that to a northern. This one ate quite a bit. This is easily reasonable on a female. So at this point, you don't mess with them. This pretty much means leave them alone for a week. You're just going to spray them down. You're not going to want them to move. You're going to give a northern a basking temperature, maybe 88, 90, and basin 88 to 94, 95. Seems to be good with an ambient of 78 to 82. And you don't want the cage all dank and wet. Remember that. Very, very important. They need ventilation. They need clean water. I'm constantly cleaning these. They're constantly being refilled. It's great. So if I go down to here, this is a very long video. Okay, so I just turn the valve, and now it's going to exhaust all the air out of there, so I can turn this on. So I did a feed last night. They love to lay on the sprayers, and this is getting going. This mister, I got these misting heads. I get them right on Amazon, and I tapped them into this PVC. So there's some pressure behind it. It's kind of lovely. All right, you guys got a long video you have to get through. Just giving you some visual. Hi guys. All right, I'm gonna go back to trying to feed some northerns. They're lovely. Here's a great example. And it collects there. So I just take a dish or a bin and I can put it right there. So I sanitize this, and then this will fill back with that water. Works really quite nice. You can see right here, this female, she's sitting under the air, and she's sitting under this spray, and she's sitting in the water. And think she's gonna become pregnant soon. All right, and here's the animal a little while ago that was biting, being defensive. Get the head over here. Okay, and all the difference was a half hour of me shutting out the lights and getting some water going. So remember, I'm just trying to give you ideas. If you have an emerald and it doesn't eat or whatever, they are really, really triggered by heat. Rats seem to be readily accepted. Always lean on the side of conservative versus big. You're always going to do better feeding a smaller meal to an emerald. So this guy is a basis. This could eat easily bigger, but I'm going to give him, he's out here looking. Gives you an idea. You can see the water and stuff like that. So, doesn't really seem to bother him. Just ideas. That's all this video is meant for. And obviously look at pretty green things. Classic. So this animal, a little confused. Sometimes what you do is you wait for a minute. Just did this on this one. This one's getting, they're very shy animals. Just okay. Sometimes, so they'll take the first strike. You can see the water spraying on them. So sometimes that's overstimulation. Okay. So what I don't want him to do, I don't want him in this water. There you go. All right, so I'll just back off and leave that animal alone. All right, I should definitely shut this big, long video down. And, oh, look at you. All right, guys, was this too long? Could you tolerate it? And I don't know. I just want to give you a bunch of gibberish to deal with. So I don't know if you find this entertaining or not. So everybody let me know. And I really appreciate what you guys are saying in the comments. And you want a long form. This is long form. All right, say goodbye, everyone. Take care.